Man, you gotta wait a minute.
Unless you want to open them now, we can do that too. But anyway, there we go. Picture there, 31 years that I worked with Willard. He was there when I came.
Is that a camera?
He was there when I left.
That's the way it was with most people.
So I was just thinking, you know, we got the good, the bad, and the ugly here tonight. And Gary, I don't know, he's kind of right on there in the bad. I know where I'm going to put the bad.
Look, I'm whacking these boots.
But again, the old timers, there's what, 4 of us? 4 of us left here. I talked to Bruce, he was heading down to Alabama for a golf tournament, and Louis had a crash sale this weekend. I'd like to see him probably in here too. But I just want to say a few things about Willard that I really enjoyed working with him all the time. He was a real classy person. I remember the times when he was manager over there too, and he came back to me reading over at the main store. That was a bad time. Remember, who was it? Master?
Iron Mike.
Iron Mike. Was it Iron Mike that got a hold of you with your tie that time?
No, that's Tiger.
That was a funny thing. I don't know if you ever heard about that, but at one time they made us wear these bow ties. And all of us, we go in the warehouse, we could sneak out. Well, none of us had bow ties on, and Gary was there with us. And here was Tiger, and all of us split, and he caught Gary. And the last I seen as I'm pulling out of the parking lot is Tiger just chewing him out royally. And the rest of it just kept on going.
Hey, I said nobody else had any ties on. We aren't talking about anybody else. We're talking about you.
And you think of the things I know, if we had Bruce and Louis here, some of the things that they pulled.
Remember?
I remember that time too, and I remember, Charlie, remember that time you and I was going down 11th Avenue about 50 miles an hour with Bruce?
I swore he was going to go someplace with it.
Well, Charlie and I, at one time, I think it was New Year's Eve, wasn't it?
We was at, we left the warehouse.
Yeah, but wasn't it New Year's Eve or was it? Yes.
Yeah, they had some of this.
Purple bullshit.
Yeah,
And that was everything dumped together. You know, and we went over to our place because we lived right across the Dairy Queen there, 4th Avenue. So everybody took off for 2 yachts. And I remember that one girl, she was sitting there and she said she moved her head and nothing else moved. Her eyes, everything stayed here, her head moved. And she called her husband to come and get her. But then Bruce, he was pretty bad that time, I remember. We wanted to drive him home. Bellridge. We was going to drive him home over northeast, but he wouldn't have it. So Charlie and I, with our superior knowledge, we was going to follow him. So he and I jumped together in the truck, and we're going 50 miles an hour down 11th Avenue Northeast to keep up with it. And we got out of the truck, and we walked up to the house, and Bruce was in there before we got there.
Yeah.
And we heard him just getting a royal chewy. He just turned around, we got back in our truck. So what we're going to do tonight is just whoever wants to pop up, and we're going to leave Gary and Bob here towards last because they want to got a few things. So if you've got things that you want to talk to Willard about, or some of the things you remember, have at him.
My name is Brent. I'm the lawn and garden tech right now. I'm the low man on the pole. I've been here for a little under 8 years. It'll be 8 years the end of this month. Willard kind of took me under his wing right from the beginning, and I just have to say I appreciate that. Because there were some times that if he hadn't been there, I would have got my butt chewed, kind of like the guys down there were talking about. I was going through some things at home. I thought he might get a kick out of looking at the 1963 yearbook. As you can see, the year of events that happened, the year that he started. And for those that aren't familiar with the phrase bottom feeder, this last couple of years there's been a lot of changes in the management styles and things like that, and Willard and I have been kind of classified as the bottom feeders. It's kind of cloudy down there, so I thought maybe if I got him a filter that would clarify the tank water so we can see better. And we were trying to figure out something that's been around longer than Willard has. Somebody come up with a suggestion of dirt.
Just saying that today.
And there's many times that he wanted to give me his 2 cents, but he behaved himself, and he did. So I've got like 42 cents here from 1963, one of each year, to the last year. As soon as I get a 2005, you'll have it. Thank
I tied it around my thigh.
We got enough going after a while, too, if you're at a loss for words.
No, not really. You guys probably don't know the history, but Willard has taken over as dad for me for the last, how long you guys been married?
25 years.
Mom, look, I
As
tied
long
it.
as I can remember. So, I don't know if it's supposed to be a roast, but for me it would get emotional, because to me, Willard is the best man I've ever seen on the face of this earth. He took Jeff and I as sons, and all I can say is I love him, and I look up to him and admire him, and if I ever work 41 years at one place, you can shoot me.
That reminds me of another story that when Willard lost his wife, look at that, 25 years now?
We're still nervous.
Is Jeff or anybody else? With that? Ken? Anything you want to say about your dad? Good or bad?
I can remember growing up, one thing I remember most about the experience with his work is having the workie parked out in the driveway, which was his work van. And I don't think I'll ever forget that. And him coming home one day, and I'd check out his hands to just see what had happened during the day. And I always remember that. But
Good old memories that you have of that. Anybody else in the stable? Marley or anybody? Okay. Rich?
I know when I first came, I've been working there for just about 18 years, 15 of the 18 years. And I remember I kept getting him and Riley knit and stuff. I could never remember because finally I can remember Willard was a quiet one and Riley was one who was always laughing. But I worked with him a long time, and as long as I ever worked with anybody. Pleasure. Yeah, I was going to bring one of those bow ties, and I have one, and I could not find it. It was all over the place for it. I was going to wear it.
Dar?
Well, I don't know, I just always had a good time working with him.
Yeah, you were the quiet one. You never got any problems, did you? You was always...
Oh, we did have a problem one time, we tried to write, and when they took our trucks away from us, and we worked together for a while, but it didn't work out because we never got back at the same time.
That's right. We were old like that.
We ended up at Austin or somewhere, and then he did give me a real good deal one time, though. When he was manager, we had an engine that was ordered for the rotor spader, and it, guy took it home and got it home and there was no keyway cut in half. So he brought it back and they ordered him another one. And that engine sat around it for quite a while and kept asking Willard back, what do you sell that engine for? And he, well, I don't know, we'll have to see. One day, come in there and he says, give me $5 for that engine. And I said, sure, it was a 5-horse vertical shaft engine and it's still running on my tiller today. I remember Dave hating about that, but I figured, I came in '64, about a year after Willard did come there.
Because it's got to be about, because I'm 67, so it's got to be 17, 18 years ago.
They only do
That was just,
They only do that.
time goes on, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Charlie?
Well, it's like working with him all those years, that's all I can say.
Yeah.
Him and I were in the guys there.
Well, that's right, you guys, I remember that one time, I was going by this great big house that Steve wrote. On 11th
That was
Avenue.
the one we worried about.
Yes, I told him that's before I started with Sears. I said, you guys are crazy to be trying to put an antenna up that.
One of them damn A-frame houses.
Yeah, the roof was like this, wasn't it? And the house is still there, 11th Avenue and Center Street.
Yeah, we had to throw the rope over their house so we could climb up the side of the
Yeah,
house.
right. Like I said, I watched you guys, I think they gotta be crazy.
Put up quite a few antennas.
Well, didn't you guys do that on your own too?
Yeah, well, it was after work.
When in '63 did you go to work there?
December.
I was there in May. I was there a while.
I still remember the only time Sears was ever closed up was the time of Henry Tizabar, wasn't it?
What's that?
The only time Sears ever closed because of a storm was because of Henry. Henry Tizabar, what was his last name? Tibazar. I remember he was the only one that could get in and he closed her up and he caught heck for it ever since.
Best thing you ever did, right?
He didn't want to hire me to work at Sears.
Lord, you hired Gary too.
He didn't know that. Yep. It was his fault.
Well, no, because you two, we got each other, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It's through Sears, it's through because of Willard.
Yep, Willard's fault.
So it's Willard's fault.
Willard's fault.
Then she got me hooked, up with the girl from
I got mine at Sears.
Who in the hell was the manager when Henry got drunk at that golf party and disappeared for 3-4 days?
That was, we didn't associate with the main store about that.
Boy, the manager even, everybody thought that was a real goddamn joke, because Henry got drunk and had a life of the party there, and it made a damn fool out of him. But his wife was going nuts, she couldn't find him. So I says to the manager, this ain't gonna be a very good operation for you or anybody else if you don't find them. And boy, it got real serious then. They thought that was one hell of a big joke.
Yeah, Jerry, and another one on Henry, as long as we're going to talk about Slim. He was up north fishing one time, and you know, he liked his booze. And they said that Slim was in the hospital. And I asked Willard, I said, what happened to Slim? He said he was out fishing, he ran out of beer, got shaken so bad, he fell out of the boat, damn near drowned.
Brian, you got anything? Harry?
I just want to thank you for the good years tonight. I worked with many people from Minneapolis to Eden Prairie, and anytime I had a problem, I could always go to him. And we all remember Bob, what was his name, Ost or whatever. Whenever he screwed up, Miller went back and went right behind with no questions and straightened things out. You know, now they're into the numbers game, and they don't appreciate all the good years that they gave to him. You know, and that's their loss, it's not his. You know, Sears is lost. I think he's one of the best people that ever worked for Sears.
Yeah, so true. Got a lot of class.
Yeah.
Yeah, anything?
I don't got much to say about his time at Sears, I guess, other than he could have been a lot. There could have been a lot of choices he could have made that could have ended up being less useful to our lives, because he saved us a million times with various fix-it jobs.
Yeah, you can always fix anything.
Yeah.
Beth, did you have something going down there?
Oh, no, I was just asking about Bob.
Oh.
Yeah. We all remember him for some reason.
Well, now we're down to, you know, who now, don't you? Which one would you like to have first? I'm going to be able to sit down on this and just let it go. Gary says he's got so much stuff to talk about. You want to go next?
Well, he took me under his wing, like, I mean, he said, who is this guy? When I first got there, and he had to trade me in for a week. You gotta remember, I didn't learn how to wave until I was 15, so that was really tough on him. I remember when I was in a dryer, he checked the dryer out. So I kicked the screws out. He said, well, you're all right as long as you don't drop the screw. Well, I dropped the screw in, but it didn't catch on the bar. He didn't get mad. He's the only guy I know, I've never, ever seen him mad. Ever. I don't know if he get hit on the head working on a furnace, we'd be out there and plunk his head. Let him he doesn't get mad. I don't know what it is with him. But anyway, he did a little computer work. I want to give to you. I mean, we all got something. This is a little plaque that I made up for you. It says the Sears Good Life is now retired. King of the bottom feeders here. And that's fish, and we'll miss you, Willard. So.
Put that filter with.
Then, Ken calls me up, he says, Bob, he says, well, I know you got a good voice, and I want you to sing a song like Take This Job and Shove It. Well, I told Ken I can't sing a lick, so I said, what I'll do is I'll write a little ditty for a song that he might like. So I asked him, he called me up the next night, and I said, what song does he, that he knows or whatever? He said, Ring of Fire. So I wrote this little ditty, but I need a couple of guys to come up because I can't sing it like Kenny. You're in the Lutheran Church Principality Choir. What's the matter with you? If I get one more,
Nor, can you sing it? Get up there. Somebody else got
there's one more person.
a complete fool out of this.
Yeah,
You can sing.
I can't sing.
You would brag it how you
Here,
can
you want to
sing.
come up?
Come on up.
And then what I want you to do is, everybody knows the chorus, I'm sure, to Ring of Fire, right?
Yep.
Right? So we'll do this part, and then there's only 2 lines in the Ring of Fire that I wrote. The rest of it's the regular Johnny Cash thing.
So you gotta sing.
You got to start this then.
No, it's all right.
You're starting
Yeah, that's fine. I don't want Johnny Cash. Okay. Sears is a retail store. They fix TVs and even more. Willard said, that's the job for me, and went off to Dunwoody. He fell into a job he couldn't leave. He went down, 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 till his wife said, them or me. Burns, burns, burns. His job at Sears, his job at Sears, that's the chorus. Sears and Willard sold, and you wouldn't let him go. He said, PAs I won't sell, and add-ons can go to hell. He fell into a job he couldn't leave. He went down, 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 till his wife said, them or me. And burns, 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 did his job at Sears, did his job at Sears. Willard was a righteous man, a computer in his van. All hell broke loose. Willard said, I'm not Dr. Seuss. He fell into a job he couldn't leave. He went down, 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 till his wife said, them or me. And burns, his job at Sears, his job at Sears. So he left his life at Sears, his co-workers all in cheers. And we, as a team, all know Willard is what made us grow.
You've never been at loss for words.
Well, there was one thing. I was talking to somebody, I can't remember, it was Ryan or somebody. And he said that, he said that, I can't figure out why Willard's retiring. I mean, he's got more money than God. I said, wait a minute, let me check this out. So I called God up. And he told me that if he didn't retire, he would have more money than me. So, Gary, you can come up.
I know that. Some of you don't know that. YouTube? YouTube?
How's that for you?
So let's try and think when there was 14 of us. Remember? So there was Charlie, and Norm, and Bruce, Louie, myself, Everett, Lester. Well, wasn't there 14 of us before the Austin guys came over, or was that when the Austin guys came?
Kenny.
You say Kenny? Kenny? We forgot Kenny.
You forget him.
Yeah.
Bruce came from Austin, though. When they
No.
closed her up. Bruce Brown.
Bruce Brown. Bruce Belridge.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
spell, Richard. No, I've been trying to think.
There was another one from Austin that he died a little while after.
Well, yeah, Maynard Wickstrom came from Austin. Floyd came from Austin. Ralph came from Austin. Donkers. Who was the fourth? It was Brown. Was that when we were at the 14 full-time? Was it after the?
How about the one that fixed watches?
The what? He was from Austin
Oh.
when they closed Austin.
Did you name Everett?
Yeah, we had Everett. Yeah, I remember when I started out there, I was 73. Had shoulder length hair. Lord hired me anyway. It wasn't bald then. I was trying to learn how to fix microwaves. Nobody knew it. I didn't know how to fix microwaves. And remember the general shop used to be different than the TV shop. Ken always had the Playboy Playmate on the back of the door. The girls never ever saw it because they never shut the door when they came in. So I was always there. Went over into the general shop and said, Everett, I need some help fixing this microwave. Yeah, I want to get it. I waited about 20 minutes. Went back and said, Everett, I still need help fixing this television. This microwave. I don't know anything about microwaves. Went back to the TV shop. 20 minutes, no Everett. So I just walked in and put my hands on the hips and said, you aren't the old son of a bitch. Are you going to come in and help me or not? And I became like his son after that. I just couldn't talk to him. Norm, after he retired and he'd come over to the house 6 o'clock in the morning on the back door. What are you doing? Anything fixed today? So I just gave him the key to the shop. When Willard was the manager, we had a 18-horse garden tractor in the bullpen. And I'd seen Charlie and those guys adjusting the clutches and screwing around with these things and tying them onto the trucks and pulling them around. I didn't know anything about garden tractors. I went out there and started that thing up, put it on wide open, put the clutch in, popped the clutch. It did a wheelie, flapped me right on the back, on it about half knocked me out. I'm laying on the parking lot out there. Tractor runs up against the loading dock and it's sitting there and the back tires go smoke's rolling off these things. Willard comes out, puts his hands in the says, so are you buying that tractor today? You know, all the guys, all the learning, you know, all the fun that we had. Ken and Willard and I in the TV shop. I'm working on microwave again. I get shock off that microwave and I'm on the floor. And I get up off the floor and these two guys got tears running down their face. The whole room is foggy. My ears are whistling, my hand is numb, and these guys have got tears running down their face.
Yeah, you didn't know what you looked like if you had all of that.
And then he decided one day that we were having too much trouble adjusting the mirrors in there, so Willard went over to the main store and comes back with a whole cart full of mirrors. So that's how the TV shop got to be mirrors from all the way around. Anyway you set the TV. Well, this was in about 74, 75. So, like I said, my hair was too long. I was listening to the music, and so I made some tapes for us to play in the test tapes. So, Willard's favorite, here, kid, crank it. I don't know if you remember Woodstock. A lot of you probably do. Some of you don't. But they had it was called "I Feel Like I'm Fixing to Die a Rag," and the song started out with, give me an F, give me a U, give me a C, and Willard's in the back, and he's got this thing cranked, and he's testing the speakers in the back. Hear it all over the whole building, you know. And, well, there's only 300,000. What's that spell? And we really got into Sesame Street, as strange as that might sound back in those early days, because public television had all the money, and all the new innovations in electronics were coming on public television. So you'd watch Sesame Street, and then you try to figure out how in the heck they did this stuff, because the computers were just starting to come in. So one day, Willard said, what? Opens up the coat and says, hey buddy, you want to buy an R? Got an R pinned on the inside of the coat. And he'd never take a sick day. You go back in the TV shop one day and you hear this, and he turned around and looked at him. 2 pieces of toilet paper rolled up. I'm okay. You know, and as long as we're, you know, let's at this, you know, remember some of the guys that, you know, that are gone. And remember Les, you know, what a neat guy Les was. You know, I don't know if you remember that, you know, everybody smoked then. You'd always tell, everybody smoked Cools. You'd always tell when Les had a cigarette, because it's like somebody had put it in a press, in the ashtray. You know, it was just flat as a pancake. And you'd go with him in his truck, and he always drove in his truck with his arms on the steering wheel like this. And he never maintained a constant speed, remember? You go, driving down the highway. Can I tell him Norm's story? His wife's not here. After I quit Sears, Norm helped us out a lot when I was first getting going. We'd take him to school. He'd come along with us to training schools. One night we stopped at Peeler's. And on the way after we left there, he says, I got $10 from Betty to go to the school tonight. I'm not going to tell her where I spent it.
Darn, did you really?
And I always remember
you didn't have to, because you'd sit there and he'd throw the money out in front of you.
And Ralph, you remember going to the service meetings with Ralph? And he'd always ask the questions, and then you couldn't get him to stop. And still today, the field guys talk about Ralph. Everybody still wants to duct tape Ralph at a service meeting. Well, why did they do it that way? Oh, well, you know, they could. We don't care. We've got to get out. You know, so he hasn't changed any. Maynard is gone. I didn't know Maynard that well. The only one I can remember from Maynard was that he didn't know about anything about microwaves, and Pete told him that he had to check this microwave out, and you know, we always had to check it for leak. We didn't have one a survey meter, so he just took his Simpson and ran his VOM around there, and the lady didn't know any different. You do the maintenance agreement checks, they wanted you to check the Freon in the freezer. It didn't have any valves on it. And then they came out with a digital amp probe, remember? You take the digital amp probe and you hit it on the end and then lock it, flip it over the line, and it'd say 0.4, and you'd go, look, your lady, your Freon's fine. I can remember when Phil came. I remember I met Phil at school down in Chicago.
Yep.
You were working at Worthington. And I remember when you first started going with Terry, and then you had to wear turtlenecks all the time. You remember that?
That's our addiction.
Another Phil one. We never had keys to the warehouse, so we couldn't get in. We had to wait. And I don't know, they were late and let us in one day. So everybody is standing in front of the store. Phil always has had a lead foot. I don't know if he still does, drives fast. So Phil comes driving into the parking lot and there's a cop right behind him. Give him a ticket with all of us watching. that one was pretty good. And nobody could ever tell a story better than Charlie. Charlie always had one better. So Charlie was the S. If you had a story about the tallest or the smallest or the largest or the whatever, Charlie always had one better. So he was the S. You know, S. Always had one better. And then unfortunately one day, you know, Evie dropped a belt in the parts room, and then the next thing you know, she couldn't work there anymore because you guys were married.
That's Charlie.
Charlie. Okay, how many, Charlie?
30 years. Oh, it's gotta be more than that.
No,
You were married before we were.
no.
30 years married before we went down to Spring Valley. We've been to Spring Valley 30 years.
I did have a husband before Charlie.
Yeah.
No, we've been married.
Listen to her, she knows what's going on.
You know, in the parts room now, you remember when Dorothy was there, and they quit letting us go into the parts room. And so we couldn't go in and get a part anymore. So you'd go up to the counter and and Dorothy get mad at us. And Willard got the bright idea one day, take off balance switch, put it in the box, put a little toggle switch on it, plug it in the wall. So you go up to the counter and you put this thing in there. It didn't even make it a day. She smashed it.
Miller.
Dorothy Miller. Dorothy Miller.
I think I seen them a while ago. They're doing pretty good with
Then there was Darlene in the office, remember? And then Pete, Ron Robertson and I went up when Audrey died. We went up to the funeral.
She died, his wife.
Yeah, she died about 4 years ago.
It was pretty tough shape when you left her.
Right. They were, I don't, was it Ian Bray or it was something where she couldn't talk very good.
Yeah, Miller.
Isn't that what it was?
Or something like
Gary, it was something like that. So I do have, I still got his email address, and I send him jokes, and I ask him, how you doing, whatever, and all I ever get is jokes. I never ever.
He's not around here?
No,
His kids moved to Hudson, Wisconsin. But you remember Kiger had that.
Yeah.
And the madder he'd get, the more he'd quit. So every time I talked to him, his head was going like this all. I don't know how he could even see me.
I'll never forget that day though. I still remember looking at my mirror
Well,
and seeing
clip
Gary
on.
getting chewed out some beers.
Well, there was, you and Willard, and I
There's a
don't
whole bunch
remember, we were all standing, nobody had a tie on.
No, none of us
Had
did.
to wear, the younger guys here, we used to have to wear white shirts and black clip-on ties.
Yeah.
I remember that.
On there, and they were, and then Louis got out of the furnaces, and he had, it was so funny that he would work on the fuel oil furnaces.
No.
Louis had coveralls, he had a separate toolbox because it stink. And instead of coveralls he'd pull on, and then he had one of them surgical hats, that he'd put on, and he'd put on a mask, and then he had rubber gloves because he could buy them at the hardware store in Chatfield. I think they were cheaper. And then he had them booties he'd put on. So here comes Louis to the door looking like he's ready to do heart surgery, standing there with that smelly old fuel oil toolbox.
Well, who was it that had that was Bruce, or who was it that had that, fuel oil furnace that was full of fuel oil?
Yeah, that was Bruce. Blew up
He threw it up, started on fire, went outside and let it roar.
I was Everett one time down to Racine and we got a furnace like that. You know how Everett is, you know, they get in there and it was hot with fuel oil. They got new nozzle put in and the filter put out and stuff, and I said, Everett, did you get some of that oil? Oh, hell, he said, well, it'll burn. He lit her up. God, that old furnace started dumping and rushed outside and looked like a little steam engine going on. I told Everett, I says, God, you know, it'll work itself out. He never got excited.
He went, Everett, I did my first compressor job in a house in Chatfield. Can probably drive to the house still. Everett says, this is how you put the compressor in the refrigerator. He lit the torch, we got behind this refrigerator in this lady's kitchen. He lit the torch, took a pair of channel locks, went right on the joint, pulled the suction line off. Ball of fire came out about this long. Huge cloud of smoke all over this lady's kitchen, and he stands up behind and he says, we need to go outside and have a cigarette for a while. I said, Everett, there's got to be a better way to look at that.
He was a pretty interesting guy to work with.
He did the chainsaw thing. You know, when they came out with them little bitty chainsaws, remember none of them would start, them little bitty. And he hollered at me one day and he says, come here, I need to do something. Well, I was young, dumb, didn't know. Got a chainsaw clamped in the vise. He says, here, you hold this. And he gives me the oxygen. I'm standing with oxygen. He says, just hold it up here. So I'm holding it up here by the carburetor, and he pulls on the cord, and the flames were like this coming out of the side of that thing. I thought I had a heart attack. And then the microwaves, when they first came out with the microwaves, nobody knew how to fix them. Everett's way to fix them, he had a 1/4-inch stove bolt he put in for a fuse. He says, this is how you fix microwaves. He put 1/4-inch stove bolt in for a fuse, and then he'd hit it. Well, they had 45 amp breakers in the shop. He says, and it boom, and the breaker clicked, and he said, now you just look for the hot part.
He was a great guy.
Then he got his shock on that microwave. He saw this blur go by. He went right up to Pete, and I'm never working on all of them. When he got his drop to the ground shock off of one of them. So
Keith Sandwick had a really elaborate house out in the country and with a real fancy wife. And she didn't know Everett from the Man on the Moon. And he was always trying to get something done for nothing. Keith did. So he made a deal with Everett to come out and fix the refrigerator. So Keith was supposed to be there at this time of the day, and Everett gets out of work and he goes out to Sandwich's and walks right in, you know. Hell, he didn't knock on anybody's door. He walks in the door and Mrs. Sandwich meets him in the kitchen. She'd never seen him in her life. And Everett just kind of gave her a funny look, and where in the hell's the beer?
And he went with me on a service call over to Casson one time. This was when I was on my own. I was at a Weiss apartment building over there. They had cycle defrost refrigerators, so they had the coils in the top, the loop coils, and every time they shut off, then they drip. And they drip back, and they drip in a tray, and that's how they would defrost the refrigerator section. And she says, the manager lady says, well, I just don't understand it. She says, every time I get up in the middle of the night, I gotta come in here and the refrigerator's dripping. And Everett looked at her and says, what the hell are you doing up in the middle of the night in the first place? That's Everett.
Yeah, Everett was one of a kind, wasn't he?
Yeah. He was a great guy to work with.
Yeah. He'd help you with anything.
I was with him on a call one time and we went down to the basement and I was talking to the lady. He went down the stairs and there was a bunch of dogs down there. There was dog crap all over. So he's going down the stairs while I'm talking to the lady and he's saying, Tiptoe through the dog shit.
I remember this was before I started.
I don't know what year, that was about, when did I start? That's about 36 months.
Those look like about 66 or 7 bands.
Yeah, because mine was the newest band, mine was a color.
Well, I got the one that I had. I think I got your old one that had the Dodge with the split window.
That was Louis' old one.
Louis' old.
Yeah, he had the Dodge.
It had the motor between the seat.
Was that little Econoline on that picture?
Yeah, your old one's on there.
And I'm up by Lake
I
City.
came in '64, and that's,
Out on the.
I inherited that from Willard.
And if you guys want to write anything in the back of that thing, feel free to write anything on the back.
Yeah, there's that little Econoline.
It's an old farmhouse, and it said the door was open. And I was working on TV then. Had a tube tester and toolbox. Got out of the truck, and there's all these geese. And they come up, and these geese are they're just trying to bite me. Fighting my way to the house, smacking them with the tube tester, and I get in the house and get the TV fixed. Then fight my way back to the truck. Turn the key, and the thing flooded out, and heard this boom! And I opened up the hood, and the whole top of the engine's on fire. I grabbed the fire extinguishers in the truck, grabbed the fire extinguisher, I'm shooting on it, the geese are biting me. Put this fire out, get it out, beat my way back to the house, called Pete on the phone, said, truck started on fire. He said, you put it out? I said, yeah. I said, goddamn dummy.
Well, remember Bob when you was chasing them dogs all over the lot that time trying to get your parts back?
Well, that was your fault, Ken. I was at a call in Lake City, and Willard had told me about closing the doors. He closed the doors and locked the doors, but me from an old small town. So I go to this Lake City call. I'm downstairs doing the washer dryer. Ken is already there, and I left my door open in the back. So Ken goes, Bob, you better get out here. So what? You better get out here. The dog had jumped in the back of my truck, and there's probably about $500 worth of parts scattered all over the whole yard. She'd go take a part out. We picked parts up for what? 20 minutes.
Remember when she was running around the apartment house, couldn't catch her?
Oh, that was crazy.
I was just thinking the other night, remember when we had the birthday party, no, Christmas party over at Willard's that night? When you guys had to go out, was it Crazy Johnson's?
Yeah.
Who went out there with it? Was it Willard?
Me and Everett.
Did you go out?
Was that for a furnace or something? Was it?
He was sitting there, we played this backwards 500. And you play a regular game of 500, only you would turn your cards so you couldn't see them. You could see everybody else's, but you couldn't see yours. And you take somebody who's about half to the wind. Man, we had some good times there. And then we got a call from Crazy Johnson, and nobody wanted to go out there by themselves because, it was one of those kind of guys.
That the guy that wore the big beat?
He had his red leotards on.
I remember the guy you're talking about.
So they all piled in a truck, didn't you? I didn't go with you guys.
Yeah, there was 3 of us.
You took what, Willard's truck or something?
Yeah.
Piled in and took off to fix it.
Well, we had that woman, what was her name, Karen, some assistant manager. And I get this call from her at like 9 o'clock at night. And she says, we got a furnace out at Zumwalt Falls. And I said, I don't work on furnaces. She said, I understand that. And she said, but I just talked to Everett, and Everett said that, if you go with him, you got the truck and whatever, and we'll go up and you can fix this furnace. And I said, well, that's fine, but you realize it's 8, 9 o'clock at night, and, they got a real good bar in Zumwalt Falls. And, when Everett and I get done fixing that furnace, we're probably going to go in and have a couple of beers. I just want you to know, I wanted to make sure that was approved ahead of time. And she said, I'll call you back. And about 10 minutes later, Everett calls on the phone and says, what the hell did you tell that lady? We didn't have to go. We never had to go. They put you on call for, going to be on call for refrigeration. It's June, 70 degrees outside. I get a call at 7 o'clock in the morning. from the answering service to call this lady because her furnace doesn't work. And I called her on the phone and told her to open her windows. 70 degrees outside.
Willard, you got some stories you want to pass on?
That's all.
Oh, I've got a few stories.
Your turn.
The time I've been at Sears, it's mostly the people that I've worked with, and it was not always the hard work. I can recall when Iron Mike was usually chewing on me, and he was always very serious. One day he came over to the shop and he caught me outside and he says, "This place is terrible." He says, "Look at that, there's a bird building a nest up there." And he says, "You know what's going to happen? That bird's going to shit on a customer and they're going to think their shit's on me already and I ain't even in the door yet." And I couldn't help it, I just busted out laughing. So, we had some good times too. I can remember when Lester and Everett and I, we would make homebrew. We'd make beer for about 13 cents a case. You could only drink about 2 bottles of it.
One.
I remember we had a party one night at my house and everybody was having a good time, and then I said, "Well, let's break out the homebrew." Well, boy, everybody quit drinking right then and there. I don't know what they expected, but
Didn't that stop about the time Les made something to start blowing up in his basement?
I don't clear that night.
yeah,
Oh, they double sugared it.
you had to cap it at the right time.
Well, didn't Les put the sugar in and Everett put the sugar in, and he couldn't keep the caps on any of the bottles.
And it had a lot of settings there. And Everett, he decided, well, I'm going to try that one. He popped that off and the whole damn worst hit the ceiling. And the less sit down in the chair, I thought he was going to die laughing. You just could broke up, Everett didn't look.
One of the memorable service calls I was on was down in Fountain, Minnesota, and Bruce Brown had been down there before me. He was on our gas range. And that year they had a good crop of corn and they had stacked it outside, and so the rats moved into town. And the rats had chewed a hole in the gas line in the range. And so Bruce went down and fixed the range all up, and they said they'd gotten rid of the rats. But she said she had a terrible odor in her oven when she turned the bake on. So they sent me down there, and she had a maintenance agreement on it. And I turned the oven on, 350, and I sat there and I couldn't smell nothing. Pretty soon I got up about 300 degrees, and then I could smell something. This lady, I said, "You got a dead rat in the range back there." And so I started pulling the side panels off to see what was in there. And I got the panel off, and there were the rats staring me in the face. So I quick put the panel back on, and this was an older couple, so I didn't want the rat running around the house, so I said, "Well, let's unhook it." I said, "We'll carry it outside, and then we'll take it apart." So we carried it outside. This was in the wintertime. And so I got both panels off, and the rat was still in the range, so I had a broom, and I said, "Now, you stand on the other side with a shovel, and you get him when I push the insulation out." Well, I pushed the insulation out, the rat jumped out, and the old guy was too slow, and the rat took off across the street, so I was chasing with a broom. I could hold the rat down, but I couldn't kill him, and I said, "Bring me the shovel." And then I had to call the boss back up and say, "Is getting a rat out of a range covered under me?" And he didn't know what to say. So that was one of my memorable calls. Another one was the snake lady in Austin. And this was a call that when it came in, she said, and we were happy to be taking calls at that time, she says, "Now, make sure he wears a helmet when he comes home." And He says, well, why? Snakes are here. And so, boy, this sounds like a pretty moment. So I went to Austin, and I was driving around. I drove up this house. Now, if you ever seen the movie The Burbs, where everything else is green and this house is all dead, and that's just what this house looked like. The grass was about this high, and so I went up to the door and I knocked on the door, and she comes to the door and she says, did anything bother you in walking up to the house? And I said, no. And she says, well, come on in. And she had all the shades pulled in the house, so it was kind of dark in there. And she had this air conditioner. And she says, there's a snake in my air conditioner. And she had a chair propped up against the air conditioner with a piece of cardboard in front of it. And so I thought, so how did the snake get in there? She says, well, I don't know. But she says, you know, she says, the police, they won't come here anymore. And I says, well, I tell you what. I said, you get an exterminator and get that snake out of there, and we'll come back and fix your air conditioner. So I left. So that we did have a lot of fun, some of our calls, and, but a lot of the fun was the people that I worked with, and I had the pleasure of working with a lot of good people, good technicians. And one other question, one other thing I remember of Everett, he was kind of my mentor. He taught me a lot, and we happened to be out on a water heater that was using a lot of gas. It was an LP. And so we were checking for leaks. Well, the way Everett checks for leaks is cigarette lighters. He goes around, and we were, I don't know, the gas line was outside the house, and as I recall, and he was going around with a cigarette lighter. All at once a flame came out of the pipe that long. And we found the leak. Not too safe. I've had some real good times, real good memories in the time I worked at Sears, and I'd like to thank all you people for coming this evening and sharing this with me, and hope you all have a good time.